Hey guys, this time the Quick Speed Shop. I lowered my Chevy C10 truck and I ruined it. I'll say the words that nobody should say. It's too low. I can't deal with it. And now we need to fix it. How are we going to do that? We're going to unlower it just a little bit. So let's get into it. Last couple of videos, I lowered this truck and you go check them out. But basically, we took all the stock suspension out over here. Bam, spindles, springs, shocks out. And we used a combination of a CPP kit, springs in the front, springs in the back, track bar, and some McGaughy drop spindles. The front original kit was supposed to be 3 inches down in the front, 5 in the back. So I put the back in first. Back's too low. Too low in the back. It's got a little bit of a rake, but that's only because the front went down so much. So the back is too low. The front went down so far, it's ridiculous. We're almost on the snubbers there. You can see that. I have 2-inch drop springs, 2.5-inch drop spindles, so it should be 4 inches down. It went down about 6, so almost 7, 6.5. It's way too low in the front. As you can see here, the front bumper would be almost on the ground. So it might be cool for all the modern guys that want to have modern look. We're going for an 80s look here on this truck. And it should only be about 4 inches low all the way around. I'm trying to replicate my dad's truck, and he lowered his about 4. Right now we're like 6 and 5. Too low. So the key to that is another set of springs. I went and I ordered another set of CPP springs. I got 1-inch drop front springs, and I've got 4-inch drop heavy-duty rear springs, so hopefully these will be a little bit stiffer, and I'll be able to use the back of the truck to haul some stuff in the back of it. Alright, just like last time here, we're going to start in the back, and let's get a dimension. We are 19 inches from the back of the frame to the floor. Well, 18 3/4. If I were to measure, 18 3/4-ish. Call it 19. So let's jack it up and hang it on some jack stands. We're going to have to let the rear end drop. I'm going to have to unhook the shocks, undo the track bar. Also, the differential cover is leaking. I have a new gasket for that. We'll put that on. And I thought it was a pinion, but it's not. It's actually the cover. And we'll have to recenter the rear end, but let's take the 5-inch springs out and we'll put the 4-inch springs in. I think I'm going to time-lapse a bunch of this work because we literally just did all this stuff, so I'll put you on time-lapse for the majority of it. If you want to see more in depth of installing the rear suspension or the front suspension, I did 2 videos on it, one on the rear, one on the front. Like a week or 2 ago, you can go back and check those out, but I'll put you on time-lapse for most of this here. Alright, we got the rear springs out, and here's our new springs. Here's the part number, RCS 6034, that one's smeared, 603-4H. These are heavy duty, and you can see the thickness of the coil here compared to the thickness of the coil on the 5-inch springs. It's quite a bit bigger diameter. The 5-inch are RCS 603-5, so these are just RCS 603-4H for heavy duty. So we're going to slap these guys right back in there, the new ones, and then they're so much thicker, it'll give me more load capability. It won't settle as much and as the 5-inch ones. One thing I did notice about the rear shocks here are just about bottom out. I tried to drop the rear end down just a little bit, and they bottomed out on the travel going down. So I think if we pick this up a 4-inch with the 4-inch spring, these shocks are going to be just about maxed out most of the time, and I'm a little concerned about that. So I do have the original shocks that were brand new on the back of the truck that I think I might have to reuse. Or which ones are the front, which ones are the back? Must be these are the back. So I have these, which are brand new. They're made in USA, and let's see how much longer they are. Yeah, see, they're not much longer than those, but these are at full extension. So they go down. These go down really short. I think I'm going to put these guys back on the back because I have a feeling those shocks are going to be too short now. There, so we're going to use these. These guys are really compressed down quite a ways. And the front, I think we're going to be okay because it's got some Pro Comp shocks that are meant for. We got the drop spindles, so they're meant for whatever we're doing there. But I think we're going to swap these back shocks off, and I'll save them either to sell with the kit, or I'll probably sell them with the kit because they will be usable there. But I also took the track bar down because that needs to be out of the way of the cover. We're going to pop the cover off in a second, drain the fluid, and change the gasket. I want to get a look at the differential. So actually, I probably should jack this thing up a little bit, put in some jack stands so I can spin the differential. I just wanted to have plenty of room to get the springs out. Or, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and hang the springs right back in here. It's the same process. They have these little spring hangers. This is the top one with a through bolt, grade 8 through bolt, and the bottom one's got a long bolt. And they just bolt right up under here, and the long bolt goes through there. That's all slimy because I put fluid film on it. Like I said, you want to see the full installation process, go watch the actual suspension video where I did the shock mounts and everything else. So let me just bolt those back in, pick the rear end back up and put the bolts back in that, and then we'll pop the differential cover off and fix that. Then we'll set the truck down and see what did I say, 19 inches before. We'll see how it's changed. All right, got the springs bolted back in here. Lickety split. I already can tell that they are taller because I've got more room between my bump stop and my rear end. I'm just starting to kiss the weight of the truck onto it. So this will be like max drop. And check it out, these shocks are too short by like an inch. So like I said, I'm going to pull them off and put the stock ones back on it so they get some more action. So I'll do that, I'll bolt them on, and then we'll set it down without the track bar. And we'll pop this cover open and see what the rear end looks like. It does have some kind of like locker in it. You hear that? It just like unlocked. So I don't know if it's got a whole locker in it or a mini spool, or not a mini spool, but like a lunchbox locker. If I go slow, it locks back up. If you go fast, like you're going around the corner, then it unlocks. So I think it's got a locker in it. It sure sounds like it. All right, we're about ready to pop the cover here. I got gloves on because gear oil is fantastic. Let's see what's going on with our cover. Can I get it to go? Oh, here it comes. Ooh, it's brand new, she is. Brand new gear oil. Why was it leaking? That's my question. And that... I got a feeling it just got jacked under a bunch of times and might have bent the... oh, it's got the same gasket we're going to put back in it. I don't know why it was leaking. I'm going to guess it's bent on the bottom and it was making it leak. I guess. Ew. Stinks! How many bolts are in the 12-bolt cover? I'll give you a hint. It's 12. All right. Did they use a gasket? They did. And also RTV. Oh, this thing sat for a while, not running. Look at all the rust on there. And there's goo in the bottom of it, but that's okay. We're going to clean it right back out now. Let's look at the... Oh, oops. It's got a Lincoln locker in it. It does. Look at that. Or not a Lincoln locker, a lunchbox locker. Look at that. It's got a, like, Lockrite or something locker in it. No kidding. Wonder if there's a name on it anywhere. So is this installed correctly? Who knows? Great. See, there's the locking action there. It's slipping, it locks and clangs and bangs. Awesome. Look at that. That's awesome. So why is this guy leaking? I'm going to guess that the cover is deformed a little bit on the bottom. That's my guess. So we'll take that and look at it. But we got a... Oops. There we go. A lock and Lincoln locker in here. Or not Lincoln lock. I keep saying like Lockrite or whatever. You take out the spider gears and you put this in. Oh, see there? I went fast. It thinks I'm going around the corner. So it's unlocking. But when you're driving it, you know, it's straight and locked up. And then when you turn, one wheel goes faster than the other. It unlocks and does that. So it's going to be noisy. But that's the name of the game. I'll have two-wheel peel. So this must have been an open diff, obviously. And they just took out the spider gears and put this guy in. But she's in there. Why does this say red? Huh. So do you need friction modifier or anything in this? I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look it up in the action. But bam, we answered that question. Now I just got to figure out why the diff is leaking. The cover was bent on the bottom. And I hammered it out with the body hammer. Somebody had been hit the ground. And I've taken the new gasket and I've used not hardly any RTV, but just enough to get it on there and stick it to the surface. There's a ribbed section in the what do you call it, in the pan that mushes the gasket. So I've just added a little black RTV both sides of the gasket, more on the pan, the cover side to hold it. Oops, here, hold on, trying to get these started. More on the pan side to hold it. All right, and then the differential side is entirely smooth, so I just put a very, very little trace coat on there just to help glue it, and I wiped it all down with acetone. You saw me just wipe a little dribble of gear oil out of the center. Hopefully that slowed down enough for a second for me to get this pan on. Or cover on, I guess. Keep calling the pans cover. I had a brain injury. Leave me alone. Words come backwards sometimes. It is what it is. But I will not be using the impact to tighten this. We'll tighten it by hand. And it doesn't need to be very tight. Let's see. One of these gets the bracket. This one gets the bolt. One of these gets a brake line bracket. But super cool to see that it's got a mini lunchbox locker in this thing. I wasn't expecting that. That's like a $500 score. I so backwards in buying all these trucks and parts. Like this truck is like mostly new sheet metal and a chassis and a cab and other parts and whatever. Like I'm so backwards in buying parts. It's nice to have a win once in a while, so I'll take that as a win. When they say buy a nicer truck to start with or buy a nicer vehicle to start with, this is what they mean, because I bought junk and started with junk and then bought more junk, and all it did was cost me in the long run. But somebody's got to die. Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be me. Where's my ratchet? Gone. I'm sure you noticed by now, in the last, I don't know, 10 or 12 videos, I got a knee brace on. Well, I just had to go to get an MRI. And once in a while, if it bends a certain way, it would pop and get locked up. And I'd have to kneel on it to unlock it. And it was very painful for a second. And I couldn't straighten my knee without kneeling on it. Turns out I got a torn meniscus somehow in my knee. So now I got a... It doesn't hurt 99.9% of the time. It's only when it gets jammed up. So I got to go to the doctor and see what's up with that. What I got to do, maybe, hopefully it can heal on its own. I don't want to get surgery. And I can't afford to take surgery time off in the summertime with work and with the channel. So I'm going to have to get through. If I do got to get surgery, it's going to have to wait till winter time. Fan-freaking-tastic. Just what I needed. I literally just paid off my stroke hospital bill yesterday, and I'm able to get off the $400 a month medicine for that, which pretty much bankrupted me for the last 6 months. Not real good. So now we got something else to look forward to. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep going with whatever I can go with. And I just need to be very careful getting down under things like I do 50 times a day, like under this truck to work on it and everything else. So, great. All right, let's set the sucker down. I very gingerly jacked under the diff. Used a block of wood, but something had hit the cover and wrinkled it before I got it. That's what happened, so... It's actually, the cover is actually above the bottom of the diff by like a very little bit. So jacking under, it's not going to hurt it with a block of wood, which is flat, but we can set this guy down. I put the track bar back on. I might have to make an adjustment to that depending on where it goes. But, boom. Let's give it a bounce test. Yeah. It's working. It definitely picked it up some. There's more clearance, but what we say, we had just shy of 19 to the back of the frame before. Oh, now we got 20 and a quarter, so it's gone up about an inch and almost an inch and a half, which I'll take that because it'll settle a little bit, and obviously there's no box in it, but these are heavy duty springs, so it won't settle as much. I'm a lot happier with that. It's going to give me to the snubbers 3 inches of travel before it hits the U-bolts, and then the snubbers will squish. But we still got 5 inches to the frame, so there was no reason to C-notch this. And now I need to check if I got to adjust the track bar. We'll go here, the backing plate. Right there till right there, we got, it's at 7 and just shy of 7 3/8. And I got 7 and a half, so it's an 1/8 inch. Let's see, I got to make the track bar longer. Let's see, no, shorter. I need to suck the frame over this way, so I got the threads, you can see in the original video, but the threads are left and right hand threads, so I just loose up the jam nuts and I turn it like a tie rod, and it'll shorten it and suck the frame over this way. I need to go like less than 1/8 of an inch. I'll do that here in a second, just off camera, but that looks super awesome. I'm going to be way happier with the CPP heavy duty springs versus the 5-inch. The 4-inch heavy-duty springs versus the 5-inch regular duty springs. This will give me a little bit more capacity in the back, like I said. And like I said, if you want to see how this goes together and comes apart, go back the last video where I actually installed all the suspension. And you can see it live and in person. I gotta jack this up and put it on some jack stands. Man, the toe really goes in and out a lot when you cycle the suspension this much. Now that it's drooping, it's like it's on the snubbers and the tires are towed way out. I don't understand. I mean, it's got to just be how the way that it is. The way that it is. I'll time lapse you, and we'll just swap the springs. Alright, I got it back together. I had a little trouble getting the springs in. They didn't go in as easy as the 2-inch drop ones, but I held them up next to the 2-inch drop ones and they were an inch taller. And then just for grins and giggles, I got out the springs I took out, and you can see they're about 2 inches taller than the 2-inch drop springs. So the other ones were about an inch taller, so it picked it up, I think, more than I think it was going to do, judging by the weight that it was when I was jacking it up. And now the wheels are towed way out because the suspension's... Oh wait, it's going to get some weight on, but let's set it down. I tightened it up. I didn't put any cotter keys back in it. Actually, that tie rod, I'm glad I did this because I had just finger tighted that nut and put a cotter key in it. Apparently, I was just putting it together, so that was a bummer. So I'm going to go through and check all these again, but I got the upper ball joints bolted down tight. I just don't have any cotter keys in anything. So let's set it down. We're hoping for a little bit of squat off the suspension. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. Yes. Yes. Let me bounce it a couple times. Whoop. All right. That is way better Osmer. What was that measurement I had to the frame? 15? What was that? I say it was 15. So now we're 18. Supposedly came up 3 inches. I don't really believe that because it doesn't look... It came up about 2, I think. Well, of course, it hasn't settled. These are brand new. The other springs are pretty soft, I think. I got CPP springs in it now. I think these springs were actually... I bought my kit from Speedway. I don't think these were... I think these were something else. I don't think they're CPP springs. Oh, yeah, these are pound by pounds, 1,100 pounds. So they were short, and they just might have been too soft. They came in the kit, I don't know, but where is the stock front springs I took out, or the springs that were in it, were like super tall and really heavy. So this has got me, I think, where I want it. It's like mid-travel, and it'll sag some as the springs compress in. These springs will probably sag, I don't know, almost an inch. So we got some nice travel to the bump stops. It'll have about 2 inches of travel before it hits the bump stop, which is going to be nice. And it set it down a little bit, but not all the way. When I first started, if you go back and watch the lowering video for the first time, the suspension with the stock springs was right up on the snubbers and, you know, drooped down all the way, and I could barely get it to bounce off the snubbers. So now we're down off the snubbers. We have 2.5-inch drop spindles, 1-inch drop springs, so 3.5 inches of down in the front. We got 4-inch in the back with heavy-duty rear springs, so the truck's probably sitting almost level, but I'm going to rubber rake it too on the front. I'm going to run 235/75s on the front. Actually, these tires here, because they're almost brand new. And I just bought some General ATX grabbers to run on the back, 255/70. So it'll have a little bit taller, a little bit wider tire in the back. I got 8-inch wide rims for the back, 7-inch wide rims for the front. So it's going to have that width rim with that size tire on the front there, and then a little bit bigger tire in the back. But let's see our rocker panel. The floor is all wonky over here. Let me measure over here. Floor is not even. So let's see what we got for, let's figure this out. So we got 14 3/4 in the back, and then we got 14 in the front. So it's got, just over that little distance, it's got almost 1 inch of rake in the front, and it'll get exaggerated even a little bit more with the rubber rake. So it's definitely going to have a hot rod rake. Looking down hills, what I wanted to get out of it. We've got mid-length suspension travel now, which is awesome, in between the snubbers. So it'll drive and handle good. It won't ride like garbage. If I'd left those 2-inch drop springs, aside from the truck being too short, it would have been, as the springs settled and sagged, it would have been on the snubbers constantly, and it would have ridden rough. My Studebaker truck has got drop springs in it, and it's pretty close to snubbers, and it rides rough. It'll hit bumps, and it'll hit the snubbers, and you can really feel it. It doesn't ride like the best. Then this truck should ride. It's lowered. The drop spindles are the big thing. That gives you, you know, the same geometry steering and brake wise, but gives you 2.5-inch drop, which is nice. So you can maintain almost stock suspension geometry. And then a 1-inch spring is a nice compromise because it's not really short, but it's all back together. Put the brakes back together, and I'll just go and nut and bolt things, recutter key it. But I think we have fixed our issue of being too low in the front. I can't get away from it enough to see, but oh yeah, you can tell, I think, by the way that it is, that it's going downhill in the front. That's perfect. It's going to be, I think, the perfect height. So I think I nailed it. It'll probably end up about 4 inches shorter in the front once it sags, and it's 4 inches in the back, but the heavy-duty springs will keep it jacked up. So it will have a hot rod rake. It'll have a rubber rake. This is probably as close as I can get to my dad's truck. All right, this is better. This is a look I'm pretty much going for. We got a little bit of clearance over the fender to the tire. It's low, but not too low. And like I said, it'll settle down just a little bit. So my dad built his truck in the 80s, so it had the bumper here, which will come to here. And then he had a square body, like an 81 square body 6-inch valance, and that's going to come down to here. So the front of the truck, even though it's not lowered as much as all these guys are dropping these things, this is what I wanted. I wanted like an 80s, like I said, an 80s lowering like my dad did, but not on the ground. It's not 2026, it's 1983. And I think we nailed it. Like I said, it'll go down another inch or so in the front when we put the rest of the weight on it and when the springs settle in. But it's the look I was going for. I'm going to run the big tires, the 235/75 15s. It's a tall tire. That's about the equivalent of what my dad ran. And if you look here, the tire is pretty much symmetrical in the wheel well. And once it goes down like another, I don't know, that far, with the rest of the weight on it, it'll be almost perfectly symmetrical in the wheel well. It'll look great. And before, if you watch the other video, I was really concerned, or maybe I did it in the beginning of this video, I can't remember, but I was really concerned about the tire hitting the inner fender because the tire was, you know, up here and it wasn't much travel. I was really nervous about it. So I'm happy with this now. So we've saved the day changing all 4 springs, took a truck that was slammed too far and would have been an issue. I didn't want it to be that way, and raised it back up. It's not this high. This is stock height here. If you look, that's stock height with 60 series tires. You see how much room there was over the wheel wells, and then he lowered it like 4 inches. So it, I don't have one of the other pictures out here, but it went down the tires. I think I nailed the look with it now. This is more like what I wanted. I'm going to blow the front clip back off and nut and bolt all the rest of the tie rods, put all the cotter keys back in. I was greasing the front end. The last video I ran out of grease. I got more grease now so I can finish greasing it all up. And then next time I think we're going to build a transmission mount, tack the head pipes onto the headers, because the video that just came out before this, or maybe, I'm not sure where it's going to come out in relation to this, but I put headers on it, stainless steel headers from eBay, which was also a fiasco. Depending on if you saw it or not, check that out before or after this, whenever it comes out. But basically, had to butcher everything to get it to fit, but it's on there. Got a new starter, Power Master starter now, so we are one step closer. But I'm happy with the suspension now. I'll take the tape measure and I'll rough the toe in here, get it towed back. Right now it's towed out because it was squatted so far. It was towed in, and I towed it out to sit with how low it was. Now that we picked it back up, it's towed in a little bit, or towed out a little bit, so I'll tow it back in, and I'll have to align this or get it aligned once it gets on the road. But for now, we can just dial it in close enough with a tape measure. But there we have it. Unlowered our too low truck. Now it's low, but not too low. Just the right amount of low. Perfect. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bam. Finally, a step forward here on the C10 at the Quick Speed Shop.